and welcome lovely Thursday night with me, Francis Abachisa Lampard. It's another episode of the Game Zone. It's another edition of the Game Zone where we've got match week 29 of the English Premier League this weekend, and of course Manchester City will be up against Chelsea at the Etihad Stadium. I've got all the fixtures for you, but this show is by the kindness courtesy of I Belong to Jesus, the House of Car Parts and Athrat Studio. He will be up against Everton at Turf Moor, and of course this game is going to be one of those games that you will think these two sides they've demanded they are doing so well, and I can't write off Burnley in this particular fixture. And of course it's at the Turf Moor, it's a fortress ground. They will always do everything possible. Burnley side, they are forced to reckon this season. They are doing so well, especially the second or especially the first half of the season. They were extremely well. They have won almost all the points at the first round of the season, and that speaks volume about them. And you can't just take anything away from Burnley in this particular fixture. And Everton, the big Sam Allardyce, he is always good at what? Surviving, and I think this time around they need to survive. And Burnley, they are on 7th position, which doesn't look all that good, but I think they've done well this season. If they end up this Europa League spots, that bad at all. And Everton, they are also struggling to survive, and I know this man is good at surviving, and I know he will surely do it. The big Sam Allardyce, he doesn't go relegation. That's one big achievement about the big Sam Allardyce. And Burnley versus Everton at Turf Moor, as far as score prediction for this one is concerned, and of course it's Turf Moor, it is going to be 2-1 in favor of Burnley. Let's continue with Leicester City versus AFC Bournemouth at King Power Stadium. And again, Leicester City, they are struggling to at least get themselves off the drop zone, because they are not yet safe, because they are on 8th position. They need to fight hard, they need to shove and hove, they need to make sure they survive, because they are not bad this season, but just that they haven't had enough points this season. They haven't had enough of the ball this season. That is one thing. They are now beginning to grant victory, but it seems AFC Bournemouth, they need to do something, because they are still in danger. They are on 11th position, which isn't the best, but they still have to fight hard to survive, because from 11th to 20th position, it's not any huge point. So anybody at all from 9th position to 20th position, anybody at all can go on relegation. And Leicester City versus AFC Bournemouth, as far as score prediction is concerned, and of course it's the King Power Stadium this time round, I will give 1-0 victory for Leicester City. Now let's continue with Swansea City versus West Ham United at the Liberty Stadium. And of course the Liberty Stadium, it is no longer a fortress, because they are struggling. The boys are really struggling, and I can't in fact write West Ham United in this. I can't write off West Ham United in this particular fixture, because Swansea City are Swansea City are struggling. They are struggling. They are on 18th position. They can't just grant victory. They are not doing anything good. They are not playing any better football. Their players are very shambolic. They can't just pick points. That's one thing about the bottom half clubs, because we are inching closer to the end of the season. And if you find yourself at the bottom of the table, this is the time you have to fight hard. This is the time you have to put yourself in the shoe of football and begin to grant victory, begin to die for. In fact, play Premier League football is better than championship. The championship, it's not easy. When you go there, coming back, it's always very, and I can't just phantom what at all is wrong with Swansea City this season. Is it because they don't have enough money to purchase players to beef up the squad? They are very poor this season. They are very shambolic. And again, West Ham United, they are also not good this season, but they've understood the reason why they need to play Premier League football next season, and David Moyes is beginning to grant victory. He's beginning to talk to his boys. At least they need to survive in Premier League football. That is the most important thing. And again, West Ham United, they are cut and drift because based on where they are 13th position, they are not safe. They need to score prediction for Swansea City versus West Ham United is concerned. And of course, it's the Liberty Stadium, no longer Fortress. I think West Ham United will go there and pick the maximum 3 points, but they still need to fight hard because it is not going to be easy because both are struggling, both are trying to survive. But I think West Ham United are a bit better than Swansea City. And as far as score prediction is concerned, I will go with 2-1 victory for West Ham United. Now let's continue with Tottenham Hotspur versus Huddersfield Town at the Wembley Stadium. And of course, Tottenham are doing so well this time round. Harry Kane scoring left, right, center. He's taking the ball, he's creating chances, and he's leaving no stone unturned. When he gets the ball, he always makes sure he orchestrates play. He's very good at possessing the ball. He's very good at orchestrating play, and that's one thing I love about this young man. He's very good. He's a very good player, and he's doing so well. Very young and exuberant footballer in the shape of Harry Kane. He's very young and he is always putting the ball at the back of the net. That is a Tottenham Hotspur going into this particular fixture. I think they are on top form this season and coming to face Huddersfield Town 14th position. Very poor. Even though they at times they always make sure they get something from matches, but this particular one against Tottenham Hotspur, Huddersfield Town will struggle, and they will continue to struggle until they begin to do the right thing. They will always struggle because they can't just grant victory. That is one thing I hate about Premier League clubs, especially the bottom half clubs. You are a relegation threatening and you've got to start picking points even if you are playing against the top side, like the top 6 sides in the Premier League. If you are playing against them, you've got to always make sure that you put your chance very atrocious. They are very shambolic, and they are on 14th position. They are not safe. They are cuts and drift because in fact, as far as score prediction for Tottenham Hotspur versus Huddersfield Town is concerned, I will go with 3-1 victory for Mauricio Pochettino's Tottenham Hotspur. Now let's continue with Southampton versus Stoke City at St. Mary's. And of course, St. Mary's, gone are the days it was Fortress, but now anybody at all can go there and mesmerize these guys. Anybody at all can go there and pick points. That tells you how porous Southampton are this season. They are not doing so well, but it seems they are ready to survive. They are ready to reach the 40 points mark. They are ready to fight every battle, and again I think they've got enough spirit, they've got power, and they've got enough energy to in fact survive. And They are on 16th position, not bad, but they are not safe. They are also cuts and drifts. They have had enough of the ball this season. Who will want to play championship football next season? If you are playing shambolic football, then you will play championship football next season. And a typical example of championship candidate are Stoke City and Southampton, and both are coming. Stoke City are struggling. They are really struggling. They are on 19th position. Very poor this season. Very poor. They can't just do anything right. They can't just. They are very shambolic. Strikers are very poor. You don't have enough. It seems they are like birds of a feather. They are on the same page. And as far as score prediction for Southampton versus Stoke City is concerned, I will go with 2-1 victory for Stoke City. They are going to pick all the maximum 3 points. Even though they are playing away, I think this time around they've got to lift themselves off the drop zone. It is very important. And let's crack on with Watford versus West Bromwich Albion. And again, Vicarage Road, is it a fortress? Yes, it is. West Bromwich Albion are really struggling, and I can't, without a shadow of the doubt, they are going to play championship football next season, because already they are on 20th position. Though they can survive, but this time round, judging from their demeanor, judging from how they have played their previous matches, judging from how they are playing, you can't really tell a club like West Bromwich Albion. And again, they are going to Vicarage Road, a fortress. Watford 10th position, and they are doing everything possible. They are, I can say they are not cut and drift, because they are on 10th position. They still have to fight hard. They are not all but safe, but I think I can bet that Watford will play Premier League football next season based on the way they are playing. Well, as far as score prediction for Watford versus West Bromwich Albion is concerned, I will go with 2-1 victory for the home side, Watford at Vicarage Road. Now let's continue with Liverpool versus Newcastle United. And again, Newcastle United, they are beginning to grant victory, but I think this one, it is going to be very difficult for them based on how Liverpool are playing this time round. Mo Salah is doing so well. He is scoring all the goals. He is taking all his chances. He is orchestrating play. He is making defenders useless. That's a class of a top-notch striker, and he has done extremely well so far, and he is a top candidate for Liverpool. Mohamed Salah, he is doing so well. He is a prolific footballer without a shadow of the doubt. I think he's on top of his game. He's also doing so well. And Liverpool, they are doing so well. Jurgen Klopp, he is not disturbed because he knows his boys are always ready. His boys are ready to deliver at any time, at any moment. So Liverpool going into this particular fixture against Rafa Benitez Newcastle United, I think it won't be easy for both sides, but I think Liverpool got the edge over Newcastle United because they are playing well, and the Newcastle United, they are also beginning to gather enough confidence, and going into this particular fixture against Liverpool, I think Newcastle United, Rafa Benitez will talk to his boys. They will do everything possible because they are ready to fight, they are ready to survive, they are ready to play Premier League football. They don't want to go back to Championship, and that's the most important thing, getting closer to the end of the season, and you've got to reach the maximum, you've got to reach that 40-point mark. That's the most important thing. And now let's look at the game proper. Liverpool versus Rafa Benitez Newcastle United at Anfield. As far as score prediction for this one is concerned, I will go with 2-1 victory for Liverpool. Now let's continue with Brighton versus Arsenal at American Express. And of course, American Express, it is never a fortress. And again, Arsenal going into this particular fixture, they have lost 2 games in a drought, one in the Carabao Cup and the other in the Premier League Matchweek 28 outstanding fixture against the league leaders Pep Guardiola's Manchester. Arsenal conceded 6 goals against Manchester City, 3 in the Carabao Cup and 3 in Matchweek 28. And in fact, this one, Arsenal, they are now wounded lion because Manchester walloped them and they have lost 2 games in a drought. In fact, as Wenger and his boys, people are always shouting as Wenger must go, when at all will as Wenger leave Arsenal for Arsenal fans to in fact enjoy football, because this season they are struggling because they are not just playing any better football. Miss outs on this particular fixture, even though they are playing away from home, the American Express. And again, Arsenal, they are on 6th position. It doesn't speak good of Arsenal. It doesn't speak good of Arsene Wenger. He needs to start picking points because he's even in the last year of his contract. We don't know what will happen at the end of the season. And as far as score prediction is concerned, Arsenal versus Brighton, I will go with 3-1 victory for Arsene Wenger and his charge. Let's continue with the big game. Manchester City will be up against Chelsea, and of course it's big game. It's top liner for this weekend. You can't just afford to miss this particular fixture. Manchester City versus Chelsea. Chelsea going into this particular fixture off the back of a 2-1 loss to Manchester United. And of course, Manchester City, they are going into this particular fixture off the back 3-0 victory over Arsenal. It was back to back. They beat Arsenal in the Carabao Cup by 3-0, and they beat Arsenal again in Matchweek 28 of the 2017-2018 Premier League. And of course, it was an outstanding game they have played on Thursday. And Manchester City, I think they are in top form this season. They are doing well. And again, I don't really know, I can't really find some what is wrong with Antonio Conte and his Chelsea. They are not playing like defending champions. They can't just grant victory. And again, I can't really tell, is it technical problem? I don't really know at the moment, because Chelsea are very poor. They are struggling, and they've got to start picking points. They are going into Champions League fixture against FC Barcelona, and again they've got a very important, and I know Chelsea will qualify for top 4, even though they are not playing well. They are not playing as defending champions, but I think they can still fight hard to get themselves back into the top 4, and they are on 5th position, which to me it doesn't speak good. But I think we've got few matches to end the season. We've got as many as 9 matches more to end the season, and Chelsea will qualify for Champions League. Chelsea will qualify for top 4. That is the most important thing. They don't miss out on that one. And Manchester City, we all know the league is done and dusted. They've won the league to me, because they can't just lose previous matches. They can't just lose the rest of the matches. In Manchester City, they are doing so well. In fact, this particular weekend, their game against Chelsea, in fact, Sergio Aguero The guy, he is in top class form and he has scored his 199 goals for Manchester City. Would he be able to score his 200th goal for Manchester City when they meet Chelsea this weekend? Of course, it's going to be top, it's going to be fascinating, and it's going to be entertaining as far as score prediction is concerned. And of course, Manchester City versus Chelsea at the Etihad Stadium. I will go with 2-1 victory for Chelsea. Now let's continue with our final game of the weekend. Our football, it will be Crystal Palace versus Jose Mourinho's Manchester United. And of course, Manchester United going into this particular fixture off the back of a scintillating victory over Antonio Conte's Chelsea. And it seems Manchester United are beginning to gather enough confidence. Manchester United are beginning to gather enough momentum. Manchester United are beginning to grant victory. And again, I think Romelu Lukaku is now beginning to find his missing boot. He is now beginning to find his scoring boots. And again, for Pogba, he needs to up his game. The guys, they've got something they need to fight for, because they can still challenge Manchester City for the title, but it won't be easy. Manchester United, to me, they are not really playing well, but they don't turn up and down like a roller coaster, which to me, it doesn't speak good. They've got to start doing something right if really they want to fight Manchester City. Even though Manchester City are forced to reckon with, they are not ready to give less. They are really struggling. I don't know the adjectives to describe Crystal Palace this season. They are very poor. They are on 17th position. They are on 17th position, which to me, it doesn't speak good. If really they want to survive, automatically they are cut and drift. That is it, they are cut and drift, and it will be very difficult for them to survive this time around. They are totally disturbed, and they can't just play any better football. They are not playing any good football. They are very sluggish, and they are very shambolic. They can't just entertain their fans with good football. Even they are playing home. In fact, the Selhurst Park, it was a fortress, but no longer a fortress. Anybody at all can go there and pick the maximum 3 points. And because this one, it is going to be very cagey on the part of Crystal Palace. But I think it will be easy for Jose Mourinho and his Manchester United. As far as score prediction is concerned, Monday Night Football, Crystal Palace versus Manchester United, I will go with my 2-1 victory for Jose Mourinho and his Manchester United. Hey, this how time will allow me. This has been another coverage. This has been another episode of The Game Zone with me, Francis Abotise Lampard. Join me on Monday for what we call the scoreboard, where we take a holistic look at all the results of matches played in the top 5 European leagues, like Spanish La Liga, the German Bundesliga, the Italian Serie A, and the English Premier League. Till then, do enjoy the rest of your evening. My name remains Lampard, and I have passion for sports.